Hi class, welcome to your Unit 1 lecture. I would like to start off this lecture with the poem that can be found in our e-textbook called I Never Knew I Had a Choice by Corey and Moratori. Hopefully you have managed to get your hands on this e-textbook, or I guess more your eyes, right? We can't physically touch an e-textbook. If you haven't, reach out to the Kane Bookstore, or you can even rent it on Amazon, okay? So you can search for it on Amazon and rent the e-textbook that way. But let's start off with this poem. It's my hope that you find meaning in this poem, and I also think that when we reflect on this poem, it really sort of lays the foundation for this course overall, because this course is really about self-discovery, happiness, pursuing our potential, and living an optimal life. Okay, so without further ado, I never knew I had a choice. I never knew I had a choice. I thought I had to be what others saw in me. I never knew I had a voice. I felt I had to hide the things I held inside. Tears and years rolled slowly past. Somehow I knew it wouldn't last. Now freedom calls my name. My life won't be the same. I'm not afraid to change. And as I leave the past behind, it's good to realize the choice is mine. I never knew I had inside the strength to carry on, no matter what went wrong. I never knew I had the pride to search for something new, to change my point of view, but it appears that I was wrong. I had it in me all along. Now freedom calls my name. My life won't be the same. I'm not afraid to change, and as I leave the past behind, it's good to realize the choice is mine. So spend some time reflecting on those words, folks. I hope you find meaning in them. So again, we are diving into chapter 1 of I Never Knew I Had a Choice, Invitation to Personal Learning and Growth. So let's talk first about choice and change and balancing self-esteem and other esteem. It's really important to note that we are social beings, and many of our relationships are affected by relationships with others. So I think we learned this from the pandemic too. When everything shut down 3 years ago, we felt like we were going to be okay, right? And even me as an introvert, I'm like, great, this is my dream. I get to isolate for 2 weeks. This is awesome. But really, at our core, we are social beings. We thrive on relationships and connection. And there's nothing like just being with people to establish that and maintain that. Many of us tried to maintain relationships virtually, and we were able to maintain the relationships, but I think they didn't fulfill us in the same way that physical touch and face-to-face conversation really fulfills us. And again, that's in our biology, that's in our DNA. Humans thrive on connection. Self-esteem and other esteem should not be thought of as polar opposites. In fact, they should be thought of as interdependent. Having self-esteem, high self-esteem and high self-regard, and knowledge of yourself and love for yourself actually enhances your ability to make meaningful connections with others. And vice versa, right? If we don't have meaningful connections with others, that absolutely influences our self-esteem in a negative way. So rather than polar opposites, we view them as interdependent. You may wonder what we mean by other esteem, and that means respect, acceptance, caring, valuing, and promoting of others without any reservation. So lifting others up, promoting other people, having genuine love for others without any reservation, and that's what we mean by other esteem. In order for change to happen, we want to strive to gain a new perspective or see the world anew by re-examining your present beliefs and values. So the way that you're living life right now, are they in line with your present beliefs and values? When was the last time you've checked in on your beliefs and values? Because they may have changed since the last time you really took time to notice them. Talking now about happiness. It's important to note that happiness is extremely subjective, and our perceptions, the way we view something and the way we feel about something, is crucial to bringing us happiness. So for example, maybe you just won the lottery, right? And who would be happier than a person who just won the lottery? But if you're thinking, man, people are going to be coming after me now that I just won all this money, and life as I knew it is now over, and I'm never going to be able to, go in the store unnoticed again. Everybody knows I have all this money. People are going to be harassing me, and, I wish I could just go back to the way things were. You're not going to be very happy. If you win the lottery and you think, this is the best thing that could ever happen to me. This is going to help me make all of my dreams come true. And I'm going to be able to give back to others. I can't wait to uplift others, bring them along with me, help my friends pay off some debt, help go get people through college, donate to charities. And I'm going to live my best life now that I have all of this money. Then they're going to be extremely happy, right? So it's all a matter of the way you think about your circumstances, and it has very little to do with the circumstance itself. Ingredients that are considered very important for overall happiness include love and relationship satisfaction, and not only intimate relationship, best friendships, parent-child relationships, sibling relationships, also fulfillment in work influences your happiness. Think about how much time you spend at work, right? And if you're not happy there, yikes. Genetics also plays a factor in happiness, and also personality. Some personality types are more inclined to have a more positive perspective than others, and this influences our happiness. And it's important to note too that happiness is largely a function of the choices that we make. So if your behavior is in line with your values, is in line with your belief, is lifting others up, boosts your self-esteem, this is going to result in increased happiness for you. Oh, I meant to be playing this slideshow the whole time. Sorry, guys. Silly me. Okay. Some of you may be familiar with the Serenity Prayer. It reads, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I'm curious to know, what are your personal reactions to the Serenity Prayer? I can share with you my reaction, and that is that I need to use this more frequently as a reminder. So I am someone who I like to have things under control. I like to be able to control things. And when I cannot, it gives me pretty extreme anxiety and distress. So when I am mindful of this prayer and mindful to accept the things that I cannot change, it makes a world of difference for me. So just a quick story. My son just turned 5. We just celebrated his birthday, and he had a big party at a play place. Well, this play place was pretty chaotic, and I thrive on structure, and there was none of that happening here. I had a party host who was supposed to be guiding me through every step of the process, and there was very little guidance that was happening. There were a lot of kids. It was just chaos, guys. It was like my literal nightmare. So going into it, I was extremely anxious because I kind of knew that this was going to be the case. However, when I was there, I learned to accept the things that I cannot change, embrace the chaos, because I wanted to be fully present in the moment and watch my son living his best life in that giant jungle gym, and influence my behavior and my attitude to just sort of be more calm, be more present in the moment, accept that I couldn't change the chaos, and just be focused on the fact that he was having the best birthday party. So these are things that I have to remind myself constantly, and maybe you're the same way. So spend some time reflecting on that Serenity Prayer. Okay, we're going to talk about the stages of change. Oftentimes, the stages of change are brought up in addictions counseling, because, of course, addictions is people are in addictions counseling because they want to change their behavior. But really, this can apply to anything. So we are a couple weeks into the new year. You may have made a New Year's resolution. I'll just, for our example, I'm just going to pick a really common one, because I think probably many of you experience this, that it's sort of hard to